Hello and welcome to part 2 of lesson 1-3. So we already went over 1-3 and we took some notes and we wrote some problems on ordering real numbers, and you did an assignment. You did page 24, 1 through 9, comma 19, and then you sent that to me via email. Well, I just want you to take out that assignment. So what we're going to do right now in this video is I'm just going to go through all of these questions with you and explain them to you. So then that way you know why you got something wrong if you got something wrong. And if you did them all right, then that's awesome. So just take out your homework that you should have already emailed to me and we are going to correct it. All right, so what do we have here? Looks like we have the square root of 3 and the square root of 3. So we have the same thing on both sides. So basically, this guy is going to cancel out with that guy, and what we're really comparing is 2 to 3. Well, 2 is less than 3. Remember, we're going to be talking about comparison symbols. So we have this symbol, which means less than. And we have this symbol, which means greater than. All right, going on. So in this one, oh, it looks like we have the same thing. We have a 15 and a 15, so these guys cancel out. And the square root of 11 is greater than the square root of 8. All right, this one we have, so if we have the square root of 4, which is 2, and we have the square root of 9, which is 3, square root of 5, square root of 6, square root of 7, square root of 8. This is going to be right in the middle of 2.5. So let's see, 6 is going to be around 2.4. So 2.4 plus 5, what is that going to give us? 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7.4. And the square root of 5, that's going to be even smaller than that. So we're going to say this is about 2.2. So if we take 6 plus 2.2, looks like we're going to have 8.2. So we are going to have this symbol of greater than. All right, next problem here. So we have the square root of 9 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. Well, 6 compared to 9, we already know that 9's bigger, so I can put this symbol in here. All right, so we have the square root of 17. Let's see, the square root of 16 is 4. So the square root of 17 is just a little bit bigger. So we're going to say 4.1 minus 3. So 4 minus 3 is 1. So we have about 1.1. All right, so we have negative 2, and let's see, the square root of 4 is 2. So the square root of 5 is going to be about 2.2. So let's see here. So we've got negative 2 plus 2.2. Well, basically these 2's are going to cancel out and you're left with just the decimal 0.2. Well, 1.1 is bigger than 0.2, so we are going to put greater than in there. All right, oops, did I just skip a problem? 6 and 7, there we go. So the square root of 8, let's see here. So we've got the square root of 4, square root of 5, square root of 6, square root of 7, square root of 8, square root of 9. So you see where this chart that I had you guys write comes in handy, that you don't have to keep writing this every time you get to a new screen. So right between here is where our 2.5 is. So I find the middle. So the square root of 8 is going to be about 2.7. So 10 minus 2.7. Let's see, 10 minus 2 is 8. And then we have to go a little bit smaller, so we're going to be at 7.3. All right, 12 minus, well, let's see, the square root of 2 is going to be between 1 and 2. So let's just say it's 1.3. Well, 12 minus 1.3. Well, it's still going to be bigger than our 7.3 because we're already at 12 and we're only subtracting 1.3. So it is going to be less than. 10 minus the square root of 8 is less than 12. All right, square root of 7. Let's just say that that's 2.6 plus 2. So that's going to be about 4.6. And the square root of 10 is going to be about 3.2. Well, the square root of 10 is smaller than the 4.6, so we're not even, without even subtracting, we can already tell that the 4.6 is bigger, so we need the greater than symbol in there. All right, so on this next one here, looks like we have the square root of 17. And in the square root of 17 here, so this is good. We just did that on that last problem here. See how we did the square root? Oh, no, we didn't. We did the square root of 10. My bad. All right, so we have the square root of 16 is 4. So 17 is going to be about 4.1. 4.1 plus 3 is going to be what? 7.1? And the square root of 11, that's the one that we were pretty close to here. We did square root of 10. Square root of 11 is going to be about 3.3, 3.2-ish. So let's just say that that's 3.3. So 3 plus 3, this is 6.3. So it looks like 7.1 is greater than 6.3. All right, so let's order these from least to greatest. Well, let's say the square root of 1, square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 4. This is 1, and this is 2. So the square root of 3 is going to be about what, 1.7? Because right here is the middle part. That's going to be your 1.5. Okay, so that's your 1.5. So square root of 3 is definitely bigger than 1.5. That's part of the reason that we go ahead and we find that middle point in order to do this. So this is going to be 3.14 times 2. So this is about 6.14. So the smallest number here looks like it's going to be that decimal value of 1.5. The square root of 3, and then 2 pi. So least to greatest. All right, I think we had one more problem, number 19 on your homework, and they want us to find an irrational number. Now, if you recall, irrational numbers, there's basically two irrational numbers, pi and the square root of something that is non-perfect. So, what is the square root of 25? The square root of 25 actually gives you the whole number of 5. And what perfect square, what can we take the square root of to give us 7? Well, we can take 49. So they want you to find out any irrational number between 5 and 7. Well, isn't the square root of 26 going to be bigger than the square root of 25? And that's non-perfect, so that could be your answer. Could you put in the square root of 27, the square root of 30, the square root of 32, the square root of 35? So we have lots of different examples here. The square root of 41. Any of these that have that square root in it are going to work, okay? All right, moving on. So now that we've corrected that assignment, gone through a couple others, you're going to go into Schoology in today's math folder and do your Schoology assignment that's titled Lesson 1-3. That is going to be a little bit of review. It's going to talk about some of those real numbers and ask you to practice some classifying that we talked about in that first video. So we're going to do some classifying and you're going to do some ordering of real numbers. Good luck. I almost forgot to add one more thing. So if you need to go back, you can look at the first video that you watched today and review a few things if you need to talk about or just see what we did with the classifying. So there's also a chart that you can go back and look at in your book on page 15, and hopefully you also have one in your notes. So page 15 will have a chart for you to be able to look at, or hopefully you have your notes from our last lessons. All right, good luck.